Hey everybody, welcome to a special short episode of the Utah Outcast for the 13th of January 2016, and it is special, let me tell you. You're not hallucinating, it really is the middle of the work week, and you're hearing new Outcasts content. It's a little past midnight where both Felicia and I are located here in Utah, and it's officially my birthday, but that's not me fishing for well wishes or anything like that, but I
Happy
seriously...
birthday.
I seriously can't think of a better way of spending the twilight of my youth than talking to one of my co-hosts, Felicia and Twistle. Thank you for making
Hi.
time for me tonight. So, I
I'm
bet
back.
you're
Yeah.
all wondering what the hell is so goddamn important that I'm sitting here in lovely Pod Hell Studios down here in Clearfield, Utah, uh, after midnight on a Wednesday morning. Well, it's pretty simple and something I felt like all of you people should hear about. Apparently, the police and fire department in Provo City are sporting new quote-unquote commemorative badges that will
This-
replace their current badges until 2017 comes around.
I can't believe this shit. This
And
is bullshit.
and I'm assuming it's going to be much longer than that if the LDS Church gets its way. You know, because they're going to be like, no, 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 you don't have to keep those badges on longer. No, 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 please don't do that. No, don't do that for little old me.
It's not a requirement. It's an option, but it's the standard issued one. And if you don't wear it, there's no other one to wear.
You know, it's completely up to you if you want to do this thing, but just realize that your eternal salvation rests upon this.
And you're kind of a bigot if you don't like it. You hate religious freedom.
So, you know, once the church gets its way, it stays that way.
Ugh.
So, and you might wonder why we'd have a little problem with that, but instead of hearing me just talk about it all night, it's going to be me and Felicia, because we have some few choice comments for this. So let me get to the talking points officially here. The badges cost about $65 a piece,
Are you shitting me?
and this is only the fire department that I have the figures for. I don't have anything for the police yet. They were given to all 78 firefighters, and it's unknown how many police were doing it, like I said, but it all came out of the uniform budget for these people. So instead of getting them a uniform that can actually be used, you got them a little piece of tin or whatever the hell they're making them out of nowadays that has front and center on it the picture of the new grandiose piece of shit Mormon temple in Provo.
You know, the William and I were talking about this as we were driving up from Mesquite, and we looked at it. He's like, "Ah, there's the temple,"
Oh,
and I'm like, "Yeah, it's kind
it's
of a
like the
giant eyesore, isn't it?" And he's like,
it's
"Yeah."
shoddy as
I'm
fuck,
like,
man.
"That's not a beautiful building." Like,
And you just think about all the money that went into that came from people's tithing, that could have been used for so much better purposes in the world.
yeah, maybe, but
I
no,
say the
I'm
same thing
actually not
about the Catholics,
opposed.
though. They all get the same bullshit and ire from me because instead of spending your parishioners' money on actually doing shit that Jesus wanted to do, you're doing stuff that you say Jesus wanted you to do. You know,
Right. So their reasons are bullshit, but I'm not gonna, you know what? I'm not gonna bitch about beautiful cathedrals. I'm really not, actually, because they're fucking incredible,
yeah.
magnificent works of art. Like the gargoyles and the
Mm-hmm.
flying buttresses, like these things. I think the world it's good to have these incredible works of art. I actually think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Um, it's
Yeah.
just
Paris would not be the same without Notre Dame. You know.
right. I mean, okay, seriously, they were actually architecturally innovative in ridiculous ways. The
Oh
flying
yeah.
buttresses changed architecture.
Yeah,
So,
they had shitloads of money back then.
yeah. And yeah, so their reasons are absolute
Yes.
bullshit. Like,
So,
or to glorify God. But the temples are
mm,
ugly. They're like monolithic. Like they're
there's
just like square things that they just threw out there in the middle of fucking
and
nowhere.
they're always constantly fucking lit.
I know. I know.
So,
They're such fucking eyesores, and I'm looking at them. I'm like, that's not a beautiful building.
so the badges that they have, like I said, they're commemorating the tabernacle, the new tabernacle, because it burned down a few years back,
Right.
and it was replaced by the new opulent temple that stands as a big fuck you to all the homeless, poor, and overtaxed non-Mormons in Utah County, of which there are more than you would think. I know quite a few non-Mormons in that
It just
city.
it just blows me away. I look at that thing and I'm like, all right, yeah, great.
So the fire chief, his name is Gary Jolly, got the idea to design and to order the badges after hearing that the Provo police had planned to make special badges for the temple opening. Okay,
That's
so, you know, you get one person doing it. And we've talked about this on the show many times, especially like with the cop cars doing the "In God We Trust" thing on the back of it. One group
mm.
starts doing it, then other groups start doing it. And
Yeah, and if you're
if you
against it, you hate religious freedom.
and
Is what they say.
all the Disney atheists out there that keep saying, "Oh, why are you making a big stink out of, you know, them putting stickers on cars?" Because it goes further than that every fucking time. If you
Yeah,
don't
yeah, they're
squash
getting
the
away
little
with it.
shit, don't squash that little shit right when it starts happening, bigger shit starts happening. We saw
I
it
feel like
especially in what city was it? Pleasant Grove, where the guy sent home the letter with all of the employees with their bonus. Was it a Pleasant Grove? I could be wrong.
Should I call a press conference? I
I
should
know,
call a
right?
press conference. No.
You
Like
should.
the media has to set up all the shit. Like I should call a press conference. I
You
should be
should.
like, the Atheists of Utah, which stands for Actual Separation of Church and State, does not agree with this, seeing as how there are many people in this city who do not follow Mormonism and do not go to the temple. This is a specifically closed off area. This isn't something even anyone can visit.
Nope.
This is explicitly exclusionary and an obvious violation of the Establishment Clause. I should call a press conference.
So the fire
I
department,
think I'm.
they said that the goal isn't to promote religion, but to support a huge event in the community. Okay, that's great. And they ordered they've only done the commemorative badges 3 other times in the history of the state, I should say. 2002, Winter Olympics, secular event.
That's a secular event. That's not,
To
and
honor
it's not exclusionary.
to honor the 150th anniversary of Provo's existence, secular as well.
Still secular.
And for
Anyone can celebrate that.
Utah's 200th birthday, secular as well.
Secular. Secular.
So, you know, is there a bias in the news? Oh, gee, we live in Utah. Is there a bias in the news here? You know, where headlines are, you know, the president of the Mormon Church had this to say at a conference today, you know, and they play clips from the shit. So they actually said on Fox News, there are some who believe the badges depicting the religious building are inappropriate. And you guys want to guess who had something to say about it? It was our very own friend from the Godless Rebelution podcast, Dan Ellis, who, if you didn't know, he's the regional director for American Atheists, which essentially makes him Utah's Aaron Ra, which is kind of fucking cool if you think about it, you know?
He is the regional director and the former president of Atheists of Utah. Him and I have many conversations.
So he gave an interview with Fox News. They actually came to his house. He took a picture of the van out front and everything. And he said that I appreciate the sentiment behind it, but I think it was a really bad idea. And he said that
He's kinder than I would be. I don't even appreciate the sentiment. I really don't.
I wouldn't even do that either. I don't want to tell Dan, no, you did it wrong. But that's not what I'm trying to say. But it's just like I'm like, I guess he just has to say that because he doesn't want to come across as a dick.
Let me come across as a dick. Dan can fill in afterward.
We get to say whatever we want on podcasts. And Dan Ellis said that anyone looking at the temple-covered badges may not think that they're paying homage to history, or is it homage? I say
it's homage. It's French. It's oh.
Yeah, and I hear too many people putting the H in there, and I'm like, ugh.
They're not wrong because it's a French word. It's oh.
But he said that it's paying homage to history, but openly supporting the LDS faith, which I see it, you see it, he sees it. Everybody else is like, "What's the big deal? You guys are just being too touchy." No, we're not.
No, we're not. It's a specific. It's an explicitly
and he gets
exclusionary building.
He gets a nice little zinger at the end there. He's like, "I would think they were employed by the LDS Church to protect their temples." Yeah, go Dan. So the Provo fire chief, the derp that did all this shit, he says, I don't think that there's been another fire in the history of Provo except maybe 100 years ago when the woolen mills burned down. Okay, that's a non sequitur. No one cares. He's blueberrying his own fucking interview. But here's the real kicker. This is the one that fucking pissed me off when I was doing all the prep work here. If you went to BYU or you grew up in Provo, you always spent time in the tabernacle at events. Fuck you. There are more than Mormons living in your city, you dipshit.
Yeah.
You know,
No, that's the same guy with the mayor of Pleasant Grove and the
yeah.
issue we had with him. They assume that everyone is Mormon and they assume everyone is Christian. That's that guy. He was like, "Oh, it was like their response, their official response was still like,
It was
"Oh,
still,
he didn't really
yeah.
do anything wrong because it wasn't intended to be public."
Yeah, I got into a number of fights on that
So
one. Where everybody's like, "Oh, why are you guys so offended? It's just a letter." Like, no, it's not just a letter, man, because
he is explicitly excluding anyone who does not agree with him, and he is pushing them into silence.
and if you read the letter that he originally sent out, it was super fucking religious creepy.
Oh yeah, it was.
It's like, I can't wait for Jesus to take control of this shit, you know.
He was
Waiting for
trying
Armageddon.
to
Yeah.
silence any opposition was the idea. And this Provo temple, it's excluding specifically those who don't agree. That's explicitly what it's doing.
Well, and here's the real crucifix into the heart of the vampire. You know, the wooden stake with the cross on it. He says that it is a church related thing on a government piece of uniform. So he sees it.
Oh,
He just doesn't give a shit.
no, because because they're used to religious privilege.
But we really wanted to feel like we're engaged with the community.
But you're not, because not the entire
Not
community
the
is
entire
allowed
community
there.
is Mormon. God damn it. Religious privilege. How do you, check your fucking privilege?
Seriously, you don't get extra rights. You are not allowed extra rights. Just because you've gotten away with it does not make it correct. And what the fuck do you think you would do if it was a fucking Muslim mosque that was doing this? They built a giant mosque. How come the fucking Krishnas didn't get their giant fucking temples on any badges?
Yeah.
They're huge.
Yeah.
Their fucking temples are huge, and they're hugely popular in Provo. Their color festival every year
Yep.
draws thousands of people.
Yep.
Thousands of people. But they're not being put on any commemorative badges, are they? No.
Someone did a great meme making fun of, you know, the "In God We Trust" on the back of police cars. And it said, "In Allah We Trust" on the back of it. And it says,
Yep.
"Now do you have a problem with it?"
That's
And
where
then it
that's
said-
how we feel.
And then said at the very bottom of it, "Yeah, that's how we feel."
Fuck it.
Do you get it now?
Do you get it? Do you fucking get it?
Do you get it, Chief
care
Gary
what you call
Gary
it, your
Jolly? Fuck,
I don't
man.
care what you call it. I don't care. You can call it whatever mythical thing you believe in, whatever you want. You can call it shit in a bucket. I don't care. But the fact that you think it's special and that it deserves special treatment is fucking bullshit, and I'm fucking done.
Yeah. It's a waste of a fucking space. It's a waste of a building.
And oh
it's
yeah,
a waste
more
of
than that,
public space that is not going to be taxed, and there's not going to be any revenue from it. So
you know, fine, put up the fucking temple, I guess. I don't like it. I don't, because you're right. No taxes, no revenue, nothing.
But
Put
they
up
would argue, "Oh, it draws tourism in."
Does it? Does it really?
I'm sure it must, because there are and I'm gonna call them this only because I think it's a dumb thing, because I'm thinking with my atheist brain here. The people
Pilgrims?
that tour the country, going to every temple that they can to do their temple
Fine.
work.
They get a little bit. They get a little bit. It doesn't
but
matter.
not nearly as much as, you know, if you open something that's the only one in the country kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
All that money.
Fucking rad water park will draw more tourists.
Yeah. I mean, it would get me
But-
down there.
That's the thing, though, is that only Mormons can visit there. Only Mormons with temple recommends
You
can
can go
visit
on
there.
the grounds, but you can't go inside. Oh, wait.
It's-
But then they would use the bullshit excuse, well, you could go inside if
If you're good enough.
if you do this stuff. All
No,
this
everyone-
laundry list of bullshit, you know.
Yeah, yeah, and no, it's sacred. Well, and
It's
I,
not
you know,
secret, it's sacred.
I actually said to William, I'm like, when you look at a temple, does that look like a temple to you? What do you think of when you see a temple? And he's like, huh? I'm like, you know, does that look like a temple? He's like, no. I'm like, yeah, when you see when you think of the word temple, you think of like the Parthenon and shit.
Yeah. Would that
Like
be a
you
cool
think
building?
you think of giant statues dedicated to crazy cool gods. You don't think of fucking
You don't
block
think of
building.
giant
That's
font with oxen underneath it so you can baptize people in the name of dead people.
fucking white eyesore against the beautiful red rock of St. George.
And making people wear these fucking hideous white clothing with their little caps and the green aprons and shit, and they have to do the arm and the elbow, and they do the secret handshakes after they knock on the little door. Yeah, there's ordinance videos out there, Mormons. We know what you do.
Yeah, we know, and it's super duper creepy.
Yeah, that's why they have a class before you go in to be like, okay, I know it's going to kind of freak you out, but you know, when all said and done, you're going to come back even stronger in the faith. And of course,
The guy in the white sheet pressing his boner against you isn't creepy this time, guys.
let's go to the temple and get your new name.
Your new name, your special name.
Your special name, and the one that your wife will get.
Did you have your special name?
No.
No? No, that's Kyle.
That would have been Kyle.
Right. You were never Mormon. Sorry.
I don't think you ever did any ordinances, though.
No?
He was kind of young still. So
That's true. I heard somebody say they got their special name, and they were like, yeah, this is my special name. Like, it's supposed to be a secret, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, that.
Well, there's a guy in a group that I belong to called the Mormon VIP Lounge. Go search for it on Facebook. It's welcoming to a lot of people, for former Mormons out there. And I'm not Mormon, but you know, atheists, you know, that like to tell stories. I get into everywhere. But there's a guy there that actually takes the ordinance video. He did all the secret cameras inside the temples and everything. And so his name on YouTube is New Name Noah. And you should see the amount of vitriol and hate that he gets from posting those videos. But anyway, we're off in the rough. We're going to get back to the fairway real quick. So, Chief Gary Jolly, go fuck yourself. You're doing something completely stupid, that you are squashing the rights of other people that live in your city.
Fuck the entire city. Like the city officials. Fuck them.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, I think the elders will appreciate that very much. The rest
fucking religious privilege. I'm so sick of this shit.
And it's like the LDS Church says, oh, we only have 2 people that work as lobbying for the LDS government, for the LDS Church. I said government, but it's because they don't need that much, because everybody that's in the government is already in the pocket of the church, so they could use indirect methods to communicate with them.
I'm committing right now, if I win the lottery, if I win that $1.4 billion, I am hiring a team of lawyers to sue the LDS Church. And that's not a joke. That is something I will actually do.
That'd be fun.
Because with a $1.4 billion, you can afford whatever the fuck you want.
Indeed. So that's going to bring our fun little mini episode to a close. I had fun. Thanks, Felicia, for coming out. But it's officially like 1 o'clock in the morning. So we have to get to bed because we're adults. We're adults.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. But you'll get a new episode on next Monday.
Yep.
We're recording it on Friday, and we do have a guest. It's Dustin from the Atheist Nomads. So enjoy this little bit here, and it'll tide you over till next week. So you guys have a good night, and you're welcome.
Bonne nuit.
See you guys.